In this video, I'm going to talk about my 6x12 cargo trailer that I used to haul my dirt bikes around in. And I'm also slowly converting it into a camping trailer. So if I go on a long trip, I can haul my dirt bikes around and also sleep in it. You can see I've got some E-track down here where I can easily carry 2 bikes. I guess 3 if you really crammed them in here. But one of the things I want to focus on today is some of the things you might want to consider when buying one, and then after you buy one, if you plan to keep it for a long time, or if you plan to convert it and sleep in it. So cargo trailers are typically not made very well. So some examples: these beams are not all exactly spaced evenly, so when you're trying to attach things to them, it makes it more difficult. When they put the wood on, it's not painted, and it's easy to paint it on the outside. So I originally painted this green, and then I've taken it off to insulate behind it, and I painted behind it, I painted white. So I guess what I didn't realize, and maybe others don't either, is the inside of the wall is the part that needs to be painted even more than the outside. Because what happens, they don't make these, like I said, they don't make these very well, and they're just like RVs. Eventually they leak. You're going to get water inside the wall, I can almost guarantee 100% over time. And it's just the nature of the way these things are built. And what happens is water gets on the inside of the wall, you don't see it, it's usually just enough to make the wood wet, and then it molds. So this is especially important if you're going to be sleeping in this. Now, if you're just going to buy it and you're just going to haul stuff around in it, haul your dirt bikes around in it, might not be as big of a concern. Little mold back there, while not great, it's probably not going to kill you, but you wouldn't want to sleep in here with it. And this trailer is a 2012, so I just started. I pulled the walls down, and I'm seeing some mold, but I guess it just depends how much water gets in. If you could store this thing under a roof, that would be the best option. Then you wouldn't really have to worry about it. So when buying them, if I had it all to do over again, I would buy one that has seamless walls and a seamless roof. And what I mean by that is, the regular ones are put together with these panels and they're screwed together. Well, every single one of these screws is a potential leak point, and this edge is too. And the roof is basically the same way. It's like 3 or 4 panels, kind of glued together and screwed together. So I would go with a seamless one if you can afford it. And even if you get a seamless one, you can still, most likely you're still going to get some leaks, because even though the panels are seamless, they still have to attach some trim and some other things. So that would help some. Now, insulating, if you're going to camp in it, is really needed. You can buy these insulated from the factory, but I don't think they put the good stuff in. Like, I'm using this 3/4 inch foam board, and I also used some of the green board from Lowe's. And I think if you buy these things insulated, they charge quite a bit, and they just put in some really thin insulation with a foil backing. And the foil backing really doesn't do a lot unless there's a large air gap, and there's not enough air gap in the wall to really take advantage of that. So I don't think you're really getting what you pay for, but maybe it's better than nothing. The ceiling is the hardest part. So there's no wood on the ceiling, so I had to cut the panels, fit them up in there, tape them so they didn't fall down, cut some boards, screw those in, and then the hardest part, as you can see, I'm in the process of building a small kitchenette in the front, but the hardest part, if most of these trailers are triangle in the front, and cutting triangles is challenging, at least for me. I would much prefer a flat nose trailer. Also, insulating takes a lot longer than I thought. It seems simple enough, you know, pull the walls down, cut some insulation, put it in, screw the walls back up. But some of the things I failed to realize was I needed to paint the inside of the boards. Also, I had some rust from the water dripping down. I had some rust on the frame down here, so I put some gray rust inhibitor. All the trim, well, all my trim is down, but all this trim down here is stapled on. So once you pull it off, you know, each piece is going to have, you know, 10, 15, 20 staples in it. So you got to take all this trim. I mean, there's just tons of trim. There's one on the bottom, there's one in the middle, there's one on the top. You got to take all this trim and pull all the staples out one at a time, and they're not easy to get out because when you put it back up, you know, you can't reuse the staples because they're bent and crooked. I usually put them back up with small screws. It's really hard to get these. It's really hard to drill into this frame. I mean, you can do it. You have to buy special bits, but I've gone through so many drill bits. It's really hard steel, and the old screw holes a lot of times just won't line up perfectly. You know, the wood bends, warps some when you take it off. See, sometimes you have to drill new screws. Like I said, the studs are uneven. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? So I'm putting 3/4 inch insulation in the walls and 1 inch in the ceiling because that's how thick the space allows me to use. And I'm not putting any insulation in the floor at this time. The floor is it's pretty thick. It's a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and I've also put down some laminate flooring. Probably gonna throw a thick rug in here, like maybe like an outdoor grass carpet, and that will insulate a little bit. But if I insulate the floor, there's basically two ways to do it. You can put some insulation down and then put another layer of plywood, but that's going to use up, you know, another inch of the headroom in here, and it's expensive. You know, plywood now is, you know, $50-$60 a sheet. So I think what I would do is just cut insulation panels and somehow attach them to the bottom with glue or some kind of screws maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's going to work out well once I get it done, but it's much more of a project than I thought. And hopefully this will help anybody that's thinking about, you know, using a cargo trailer for long periods of time for dirt bikes if you want to make it last, or if you're planning to camp in it, which a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people convert these over into little mini homes or mini RVs. Well, thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you enjoy this content. Thanks.